Hi, Todd Pouliot with Gateway Financial, mygatewaymoney.com. Appreciate all of you that have subscribed and hitting that thumbs up button is very important. Helps us with the algorithm, so we appreciate that. Today I have a guest flow chart, and it's some information that I found and I was reading, and I thought what a wonderful opportunity to share this information. And today's topic is about Social Security and when I should claim Social Security. Now, I do want to caution everyone, they call this their decision tree. And yes, it kind of gives you a good guideline, but Social Security has so many different rules and regulations. You really want to make sure that the exact situation for you is the correct one. So many things like WEP or GPO, government pension offset, things with just so many different variables. It is a massive program with massive amounts of rules, but I'd like to bring you a simplification of that to help guide you a little bit about where you'd like to be. Things that can factor the four topics that I'd like to cover, and we're going to go through some more slides than just one. We're going to look at some different issues, but life expectancy and how it's changing for both men and women. Social Security decision tree, which is that flow chart. We're going to talk about maximizing Social Security benefits as a planning opportunity and expected rates of return for your portfolio and the life expectancy that you are possibly going to achieve. So as usual, I am going to share my screen with you and get right into the flow charts and workflows and these slides. But again, this is from JP Morgan and what's called their guide to retirement. I just want to remind everyone we have zero affiliation with JP Morgan. We are a wholly independent company here at Gateway Financial, but their data and their information is useful and we want to share it with you. So again, if you're 65 today, life expectancy going beyond where it is today. In 1990, you can see women and men in the last 30 years, their life expectancy has increased. And obviously, if we go way out to the year 2090, what we're projecting life expectancy to be. Obviously, women have only gone up a half a year, while men have increased by 2 years. So the old adage, men die first, that gap is closing and we need to be cognizant of that gap. But we want to talk about, well, gee, that's not the number I'm familiar with. Well, remember, this is if you were age 65, but you've avoided all the problems being younger, driving too fast when you're younger, typical things like abuse, substance abuse or alcohol abuse, child mortality and child illnesses. So when you get to 65, understand that horizon may be 35 years long, and you want to maintain a portfolio for growth because you may be in retirement longer than your working years. So those are very important things to consider. I am not going to go through every slide on this, but there's some very good detail here that I would like to discuss. Social Security timing trade-offs. The biggest discussion I get with people is when to take it, what age to take it. If you take it at age 62, remember you're going to get a less benefit because you're claiming early. If you hold to your full retirement age, for me it's 66, for some of you maybe sooner, you get the 100% of the benefit. But if you hold off a little longer, the increase in the current rules, you could be at 132% of that full retirement age. So there's some differences about how to plan and what to plan and why those decisions are made. So be careful also as you're born after age 1960, that reduction amount changes. So down to 70%, not 75%. And you still get that 8% per year. I'll be honest with you, a lock-in rate of 8% is pretty good. One of the reasons why this part of the conversation is important is because you have the increases. So last year we had a significant increase, about 6% for this year, 2022. And next year, we're already projecting a 7% increase for inflation. Now, would you want that number to be based on 70% of your full benefit or even on a higher benefit? So be careful that cost of living adjustment and what that may mean to how much your check will be on a monthly basis. It could have a heck of an impact for many, many, many years. And here we are with what they're calling a decision tree. We usually use the word flow chart, but we're going to obviously do the logic statement. And I love that they do similar work like we do. Start here. Are you working? Yes or no? Yes. Delay claiming if you are subject to the earnings test. Again, that should be a whole different video, but you might pay taxes on your Social Security, so you're taxed twice. And is it worth the offset of working? No. Do you have other sources of income? Yes or no. I have no other sources of income. Consider claiming your benefit. One of the things that I want to do is take what we are in the upper corner here and move to what is our goal on the other end? What are we mentally thinking? 62, 67 for a full retirement age, or 70? How do I get to this end? Do you have other sources of income? Remember, thinking of getting to the end is, can I wait till 70 and get that bigger amount, that bigger check, which will lead to bigger inflation adjusted increases? Do you prefer receiving a smaller benefit versus waiting for a larger benefit? No, I do want that larger benefit. Do you want to claim your benefit to preserve your investment portfolio? That's the big decision. Do I have enough outside assets that I can bridge that gap between retirement and age 70? And that's the big conversation that we like to have with people. Do you prefer receiving a smaller benefit? Yes. Well, maximize Social Security benefits. And I'll get to that later slide here. Also, evaluate which claiming age results in the highest lifetime benefit based on your expected rate of return and life expectancy. I will show you page 11 and 12 a little bit later on. The biggest one is, do you expect to live beyond the age of 77? Yes. Do you expect to live beyond the age of 81? Yes. Well, maybe waiting's the best. Again, this is a great conversation that you should also be having with your personal physician. How is my health? What are my activities like? How am I increasing my life expectancy? If those things are there, remember, we looked at page 4, look at your expectancy probabilities. Or maybe it's 62 because I don't think I'm going to live beyond age 77. Or my grandmother lived till 98 and my wife's grandmother lived. Look at your family history, and your personal physician should be able to help you on when to make those claiming strategies. So I'm going to move on over here. I prefer receiving smaller benefits versus waiting for a larger benefit on page 11. Maximizing these numbers, if I claim at 70, if I claim at my full retirement age, or if I claim at 62, where is my break-even point, and what are my checks going to be like? Do I want that $1,600 check, or do I want that $1,100 check, or almost $1,200? You have to be cognizant of what is your situation as a single person, as a married person, and quite possibly as a married person in a same-sex marriage, because that does change your life expectancy. So as a man, age 62 probability to live, where do you fall? What is your expectancy? As a female, where do you fall? What is your life expectancy? And as a couple, remember, couples automatically are going to live longer. Men and or women, one of you will live longer than the other. So that percentage rating really stays much higher, much later in life. So be careful that you are receiving that payment, just not, my dad died early. Well, did he have a heart anomaly that caused that situation that you don't? Make sure you understand and work with your personal physician to make sure you're there. Also, what do you do to bridge that income between not taking Social Security and then turning it on? Where is that missed income going to come from? Now, I will tell you, since we've had changes with the Secure Act, we are finding people are taking money out of their IRA and either doing Roth conversions or just taking that money as income. And what that does is it lowers future RMD or required minimum distributions later in life. And then as they age or as they mature and death comes, The Secure Act rules are very important now for beneficiaries. It becomes a much smaller number in that IRA that the beneficiaries have to handle within that 10-year time period. So again, back up here where we were heading towards page 11, what results in the highest lifetime benefit based on expected rate of return and life expectancy? Earlier, we talked about, hey, I may live 35 years. I need to invest a little bit more into a growth portfolio. And I want to make this a very clear comment. The last 15 years, we've seen exceedingly low interest rates. If people were sitting in cash for 15 years, where are they today versus if they were invested in a balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds? And we are also possibly in a rising interest rate environment. And how is that going to affect us? So I'm going to flip all the way down to slide number 12 here. Claiming age based on an individual's expected rate of return and longevity. Well, we have a 0 to 10%. I know there's years that are outside of those, but what's the average future expectation? Don't expect to go after 10% each and every year. I will tell you, if that's your expectation, you're probably living very dangerously. This little block here that's highlighted, a woman with an expected consistent 5.5% rate of return net of fees and a life expectancy of 88, consider claiming at age 70. I will tell you that's probably on a very top level, a good thing to look at, 5.5%. And I'm just going to move out to age 88, claim at 70. The reason is, be a little more conservative. Don't be totally conservative. If you are taking all the risk out of the table, you are not going to have enough to keep going as we had inflationary periods. And if you're investing way too aggressively, just remember that those downturns can be much more impactful on you. So be careful when you work with an advisor and say, hey, what am I looking at after fees, after taxes, after everything? What is my expected rate of return for this year, 5 years, 10 years? And can you kind of help guide me on when I should claim? Do I have enough assets that will get me through to the next level? Do I have the right asset allocation in the right asset location to make sure I'm investing tax efficiently? So I wanted to thank JP Morgan. I don't know who to thank because we're not affiliated with them, but this is a wonderful tool that they have. I love their flow chart. It's a little simplistic, but Social Security is such a massive decision and a very complicated decision for people who are 5 years away, and you need to start thinking about, what am I going to do with Social Security and how am I going to claim? And by the way, how does that go into the Medicare conversation? There's a lot of decisions around Social Security. And the last one we didn't touch on is also tax planning. So you want to make sure you're tax planning for Social Security income, whether or not you're going to be working or not, and how to utilize delaying till 70, pulling out of an IRA or a taxable account, and tax planning is extremely important in this decision. But again, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate those of you who hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, and share information for us. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website at mygatewaymoney.com, and we'll keep bringing you these educational flow charts and checklists, and we appreciate it, and y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.